The film kicks off with a slow, eerie sequence that immediately sets the tone. Two men, clearly up to no good, emerge from a small motel in the middle of nowhere. They move with a quiet menace, and in just a few minutes, we realize why. The pair casually murder a motel clerk and a young girl before driving off. It's chilling, and the unsettling silence in this opening perfectly foreshadows the darkness that lies ahead. The way they carry themselves, their lack of remorse, and their casual approach to violence give us a glimpse of the brutality that will soon clash with the world of our protagonist. Cut to the small town of Millbrook, Indiana, where we meet Tom Stahl, a quiet, well-liked guy who runs a small diner. He's a family man, living a simple life with his wife, Edie, and their two kids, Jack and Sarah. Everything about Tom screams ordinary guy. But as we soon find out, there's more to him than meets the eye. Tom's daily routine paints him as a man fully immersed in the small-town lifestyle. He opens the diner early, greets familiar customers with a warm smile, and maintains a friendly, almost effortless rapport with the locals. He's the guy people trust, the guy people rely on. But beneath this carefully curated exterior lies something darker. Something even Tom himself seems to have buried so deep that he's convinced himself it's no longer there. One night, those same two criminals from the opening scene roll into Tom's diner, demanding money and threatening the staff. But instead of caving in, Tom springs into action. In a flash, he brutally takes them down, shooting one and killing the other with a few precise moves. It's swift, shocking, and extremely efficient, almost too efficient for a small-town diner owner. His actions turn him into a local hero, but they also attract some very unwanted attention. The aftermath of the attack is chaotic. Police officers swarm the diner, interviewing shaken employees and customers. Reporters gather outside, eager to turn Tom into a national hero. But Tom is visibly uncomfortable. He doesn't bask in the attention, doesn't relish in the praise. If anything, he looks like a man whose worst nightmare has just begun. And he's right. Enter Carl Fogarty, a mobster with a cold, intimidating presence. He and his men show up in town, convinced that Tom isn't who he claims to be. Carl insists that Tom is actually Joey Cusack, a notorious hitman from Philadelphia who disappeared years ago. Tom, of course, denies it. But Carl isn't buying it. His threats become more aggressive, and we can see the cracks forming in Tom's carefully built life. Carl is methodical, never outright attacking Tom, but always lingering in the background, watching. He follows Tom around town, his dead, milky eye making his presence even more unsettling. He approaches Tom's wife, Edie, outside a grocery store, his words dripping with menace. "Your husband's not who you think he is," he tells her. The seed of doubt has been planted, and from this moment on, Edie begins to look at Tom differently. As pressure mounts, we see the impact on Tom's family. His son, Jack, normally a mild-mannered kid, starts acting out violently, standing up to bullies in a way that eerily mirrors his father's hidden past. Edie, meanwhile, starts questioning everything she thought she knew about her husband. Can you imagine thinking you know someone inside and out, only to suddenly wonder if they've been lying to you for years? That's exactly what she's dealing with. One of the film's most gripping moments comes in the form of a confrontation between Tom and Edie. She doesn't outright accuse him of lying at first, but she starts pressing him on details. How did he know how to handle a gun so well? How was he able to react so quickly? Tom dodges the questions at first, trying to dismiss them. But Edie isn't satisfied. The tension between them thickens, reaching a boiling point later in the film when the truth finally comes out. Eventually, the truth comes out. Tom is Joey Cusack. He was a brutal enforcer for the Philadelphia mob, but he left that life behind to start over. His past wasn't just knocking on his door, it had completely torn the door down. And now, he has to face it head-on. The moment of revelation is devastating. Edie looks at Tom as if she's seeing him for the first time. He tries to explain himself, But there's no justification that can undo years of deception. Their marriage, their life together, all of it is suddenly thrown into question. She's repulsed, but also conflicted. Does she still love him? Is it possible to love a man she no longer knows? Carl and his men push too far, forcing Tom's hand once again. In a violent confrontation at Tom's home, he eliminates them with ruthless precision. The quiet diner owner is gone. What we see now is a cold, calculating killer who hasn't lost his touch. And while he saves his family, he also confirms their worst fears about him. The fight is brutal. Carl doesn't go down easily, but Tom is relentless. By the end, Tom stands over Carl's lifeless body, breathing heavily, covered in blood. The moment is as much about survival as it is about inevitability. Tom can't escape who he is, no matter how hard he tries. Just when you think it's over, Tom gets a call from his older brother, Richie, a high-ranking Philly crime boss who isn't exactly thrilled that Joey has resurfaced. Tom knows what this means. He has to go back and clean up one final mess. He travels to Philadelphia, where Richie greets him with a mix of fake warmth and barely hidden rage. The tension is unbearable. And then, just like that, Tom does what he does best. He takes out Richie and his men in a brutal, bloody showdown. Richie is different from Carl. He's family. He speaks to Tom not just as a former hitman, but as a younger brother who abandoned his own blood. Their interaction is loaded with history, bitterness, and unspoken pain. But in the end, Tom does what he always does. He survives. Richie falls, and with him, the last link to Joey Cusack. Tom returns home, but things aren't the same. The film ends with an unforgettable, haunting dinner scene. His family sits at the table in silence. Edie hesitates before placing a plate in front of him. His son silently offers him food, but there's an unspoken question in the air. Can things ever go back to normal? Tom doesn't answer because maybe even he doesn't know. The weight of everything that's happened lingers in the silence. Tom's family may never look at him the same way again. He has survived, but at what cost? As the credits roll, we're left with the question that has defined the entire film. Can we ever truly escape our past? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.